Welcome everyone to Nintendo Game Talk. My name is Coloco, and today's topic will be discussing is game reviewers and why it's still beneficial for us, for the consumer, to listen to game reviews. Now, this topic has come up lately. I've seen it a little bit on social media, especially with State of Decay 2 winning the May NPD. For those of you that don't know, that is, I don't even know what the acronym stands for. Let me be honest, but it's basically the most sales in the month of May for the United States as far as video game goes. So Xbox exclusive State of Decay 2 won May sales, and now all of a sudden I see all these people online on social media saying, see, y'all don't need to listen to game reviewers. Y'all just need to play the game for yourselves. While I do agree that not every game has to be a perfect scored game or perfectly reviewed game for you to be able to enjoy it, I love me some bad games, and that's not what this is about. It's about giving credit where credit's due. If a developer makes a fantastic game, a masterpiece, they should get the recognition for making a masterpiece of a game. If a developer makes a bad game, well then, I'm sorry, but you also have to take the L. You made a bad game. Was it because you had to meet deadlines? Was it because the budget just wasn't there? You know, did you lose some people halfway through the development process? Were you forced by your publishers to make changes in the game you didn't want to make? No matter what the conditions were, it does not matter. You made a bad game, and you can't just ignore that and just say, yeah, you need to stop listening what game critics have to say about this, because ultimately what game critics are there to do is to save you and me money, is to save money. They are good for the industry. Game critics are needed. They are a 100% necessary thing in our industry, in our hobby. Because if these developers go unchecked, and this is important, guys, all right? If, let's say take that thought, just because, you want to represent you're a fanboy of a console, and that's fine. Anybody could be a fanboy, that's fine. But you have to admit when you have a stinker and when you don't. You can't just say a game like State of Decay 2, which got bad reviews, okay? Considering, you have to put this in perspective. This is one of the only exclusives that Xbox has this year. Okay, so if they had like 10 or 15 exclusives, not a big deal, right? You have one bad egg, you have Nintendo Switch, for example. They had a couple of bad games, not great games coming on the Switch already. I could think maybe that Kirby game, wasn't greatly reviewed. I think it was like a 74, 73. But that's okay. It's got other exclusives in the 2017, 2018. It's fine. It has a lot more games coming out. But when you have your only exclusives coming out is just like 3 games, and one of the games is badly reviewed. And let's not talk about the other game, because that was also badly reviewed. But anyways, that's not here in the conversation right now. You can't say this is okay. You can't say that just because it's one of your only exclusives. All right, you're being blinded right now. You have to admit, okay, look, this game is not that great of a game, but I'll support it, and maybe they'll do better next time. But you can't sit here and say, yeah, don't listen to game critics. This game is good, guys. Play it because this game is good. Don't listen to the game critics. That's dangerous. That's dangerous territory that you're entering. And this is why. Because once you start doing that, and once people start not listening to the critics and just buying this mediocre stuff, what is going to happen? You think developers aren't going to take notice? You think developers are just going to sit by and say, hey, look at that other development studio. They didn't put that much effort into their stuff. They just marketed it right, and they got a bunch of sales. We could do the same thing. Why are we putting so much effort and all this money into developing, into polishing this game when we could just put out garbage, put out crap, and people will buy it anyway, and people will just ignore the critics. It's the same thing with these Transformer movies coming out, with these like big budget bad movies that get like horrible reviews. And what do you see? These directors saying like, oh, don't listen to the critics. What is that new John Travolta movie that came out, Gotti? It got like 0% rating on Rotten Tomatoes, and they say, oh, I blame the makers said I blame the critics. I blame the critics. No. You made a bad movie. Don't blame the critics. They're just humans. They're not getting paid to give you a bad review. And that's what you have to understand. These game critics, they're not getting paid to give games bad reviews. They're getting paid to protect us, to protect our wallets. That's what people do not understand. Put that in perspective. That is their job, is to protect your wallet and to protect the sanctity of having good quality games coming out. Because that's what developers want. They want their game to be highlighted by reviewers. They want their game to be praised by critics. That way it gets attention. That way they get the sales, the money. Don't mess with the formula just because your console is not producing. Alright, don't mess with that formula. Don't mess it up for the whole entire industry just because your chosen exclusive console decided not to put out a lot of games this year. You got to look at the bigger picture. You got to look at the future of our hobby. You can't just be so pig-headed and just say, I don't, there's not a lot of games, so I got to protect, the couple games that come out. I got to damage control. Yeah, this gets 68 on Metacritic, but don't listen to that. Don't listen to that. No. Everybody, listen to that. Keep listening to game critics. I'm sorry if it hurts your feelings when you're a fanboy of a certain console and you get a game that you're hyped about and it comes out and it gets bad reviews. Don't blame the critics. Don't even mention the critic. Now, there are times when, a game is massively praised by a bunch of critics, and then you got that one, D-bag critic giving it like a 4, everybody else gives it like a 90 out of 100 or 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10, and then you got the one guy giving it a 3 out of 10. Yeah, that sucks, but that's with everything that people review. That's going to happen in any kind of industry where you have reviews. There could be that one person who just has a bad experience for whatever reason. Maybe they have something. We're all human, right? Maybe they have something personal against that developer. It could happen to one person. And I'm not saying it's the right thing to do, but it happens. We're all human. Maybe that person had a miserable week. Maybe they went through something personal in their life where they just had the wrong moment, reviewed this game that's normally an awesome experience, and they just had a bad experience with it. It can happen. 1, 2, 3 reviewers out of 100 that give it a bad review score. You have to expect that stuff. You can't also like jump on their throats and be like, oh, you gave this a bad review. Who cares? It's just 1 or 2 people. Like, who cares if most critics praise that game? That's another thing. I hate when gamers get on like, and send especially like sending threats and stuff like that to those people. Like, come on, grow up. It's a video game. But that kind of stuff is going to happen. All right? And that's expected. But when the majority of reviewers review a game and say this game is mediocre, and then the fan base of that game system, right, say, oh no, don't listen to reviewers. Dude, shut up. You're just ignoring what everyone else around you is telling you. They're professional game critics. And what I mean by that is that they dedicate their lives to making sure that their opinions are on the money and are there to save gamers money. That's what they dedicate their lives on. Okay, you might play a lot of video games, but these people make sure that the content they're trying to produce, the reviews, that they are 100% honest and they're there to save us money. And you're going to turn around and say it's their fault? You know, that your game developing company sucks and didn't produce enough content, so you have to damage control? I just absolutely horrible. And people should just, every time you see something like that, immediately disregard it and just say, no. Game reviews are there to save us money. They're a good thing for the community. They're a good thing for our entire hobby, the entire video game industry. And we can never lose sight of that, because once we do, and you just let these developers do whatever they want, give them free reign, say just go ahead, make as much garbage as you want. All you have to do is just advertise it like crazy, and we'll go and buy it anyway. Then what are we doing this for, guys? Really? Like, if we're just going to not even care about quality anymore, then we're just all going to have to become retro gamers, because nobody's going to want to buy and purchase the new stuff, and then our hobby is absolutely just going to go away. So that's what I have to say about game reviewers. I'd like to know what your opinions. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Let me know below. And as always, thank you so much for listening to what I have to say. And if you like this video, you know what you got to do. Please help me out. Hit that like button, hit subscribe, and stick around for more Nintendo Game Talk. Later.